Good evening, മാറ്റിനി വെബിനാറിലേക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും സ്വാഗതം. ഇന്ന് വളരെ ചലഞ്ചിങ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള വളരെ സ്പെഷ്യൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ടോപ്പിക്കാണ്. ഈസ് മിനറൽ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി എ ചലഞ്ച് ഫോർ ഇന്ത്യ? തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ആധികാരികമായ ഒരു വിഷയത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് സംസാരിക്കാൻ നമ്മളോട് കൂടി ചേർന്നിരിക്കുന്നത് കണ്ണൻ സാറാണ്. സാറ് വൈസ് അഡ്മിറൽ റിട്ടയർഡ് ആണ്. വളരെ നൂതനമായ പല വിഷയങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ചും സാറിൻ്റെതായ രീതിയിൽ വളരെ മനോഹരമായ ശൈലിയിൽ സാർ നമുക്ക് വേണ്ടി ക്ലാസ് എടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഈ ഒരു വിഷയവും വളരെ ക്രിയേറ്റീവായിട്ട് നമുക്ക് കേൾക്കാം. നിങ്ങളുടെ എല്ലാവരുടെയും പേരിൽ കണ്ണൻ സാറിനെ ഞാൻ വേദിയിലേക്ക് ക്ഷണിക്കുകയാണ്. സാർ, യു ആർ വെൽക്കം.
Okay, right. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Sabu for giving me yet another opportunity to share my knowledge on a topic. And today's topic is not a very common topic. I'm going to speak on mineral security of our country. And let me amplify this topic a little bit. Every country is blessed by nature with mineral resources in its land mass, and some coastal countries have additional minerals lying on the seabed very close to their coast. But today we are going to speak only with respect to land mass based minerals, not seabed minerals, because seabed mining has not been permitted by authorities world over. They're not been permitted yet. Only research and development is going on in seabed mining at this point of time, and is expected sometime in a year or two seabed mining may start. So we will talk only about land-based minerals. Now, let me go back by 100 years. When the world started using fossil fuel, crude oil, when they started using it, many countries were having a lot of resources, a lot of deposits with them. And these countries flourished with the revenue which they were getting from these crude oil exports and sale to other countries, and which was so critical for other countries which were not having their own resources. They had to buy oil, either crude form or refined manner, and use it for their industry, for their development, etc. Now, this is still continuing. Even today, oil-rich companies are a key player in the development of many other countries which are dependent on oil on them. Even though the last 5 years or so, there have been a lot of emphasis on reducing fossil fuel from our overall energy matrix, because it is linked with carbon emission. So world over, in the interest of global climate control, there have been a lot of positive actions being taken by different countries saying reduce carbon emission by going to alternative form of energy, which you know is renewable energy, either from solar energy or wind energy. So today, if you look at, many countries are in a transition from fossil fuel energy to renewable energy. And renewable energy requires a different set of equipment. It could be very familiar to you. It could be solar panel, it could be windmill. But at the national level, when you want to do harnessing solar and wind energy in a big way, you require a large number of equipment to be manufactured. They have to be installed, and they have to be put in service, and slowly you can reduce your carbon emission. So that is the requirement of our country. If you recall, by 2030, our country has committed to have 500 gigawatts of renewable energy and to reduce carbon emission by 1 billion ton. This is a commitment given by India, by India's Honorable Prime Minister at COP26 Glasgow meeting in November 21, just a year back. So we are all working towards transiting to renewable energy, which means a new set of equipment, as I told you earlier. And to make this new set of equipment, you require a different set of minerals to make them. Today, we are going to discuss how is India poised on this front. Is India going to have a challenge in availability of minerals to embark upon manufacture of these equipment and transit towards renewable energy? Say in the next 15 to 20 years, will you be able to meet the requirements of the industry from the mineral point of view? How is the international community looking at this change which is coming in? And are they prepared to help each other? Or are they forming some alliance by which some countries will not get help and they will be left alone? So I'm going to cover all these aspects in my presentation, which I'll upload now. I think my talk will take about 40 odd minutes. And it is a topic which you will hear a lot of new names about new minerals, but don't bother about the names of the minerals so much. But more important, you should look at what is a challenge to India in this transition from fossil fuel energy to renewable energy. That is a basic issue. So I'll upload my presentation now.
Sir, if you can make it simple, your presentation, your explanation.
Who's that?
I am Shajimati.
Sabu. Okay, I will try and make it as simple as possible. So listen to me and don't bother to read about what is written on the slide, because some slides may have too many names of minerals, etc., which may not be so important. So you can see my presentation now, my slide.
Okay,
You
sir.
can see,
Yes, sir, yes,
you
sir.
can see my presentation.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, right. So let's go to the initial slide, just for information of this audience. World over, there are about 100 types of minerals found in sizable quantities in the Earth's crust, sizable quantities. And you can see in the map, even India has got some deposits, this, that, etc. The world over it is there. While another 2,400 types of different minerals are seen in small quantities. This is just for information. About 100 types of minerals are in sizable quantities with many countries. Some have more, some have less, and some have enough to meet their requirements. Some have more than enough to meet their requirement. They sell it outside. So how is India's map looking? India's map is looking like this, but I will highlight a few things about India's mineral map. First thing is, we have about 95 types of minerals in India. 4 of them are fuel. For information, crude oil is a mineral. Natural gas is also a mineral. So I will not include fuel in my discussion, because we are actually trying to get rid of these fossil fuels, which are minerals. We're also trying to say we will not depend on coal that much, which is also another mineral. So that 95 types of minerals available in India is as shown on the screen. For fuel, metallic, non-metallic, some minor minerals like mica, laterite, clay. So there's a long list. So there's no requirement to go through all the long list. But remember, there are 3 atomic minerals which we have. Thorium is one example, and that we will talk about little about atomic minerals separately. Geologists feel that the intensity of wealth below our ground resources, that means our land mass has got mineral wealth, that intensity is same of Australia. And Australia has a lot of resources which you will see as we go along in the presentation. And so India also must be having, that's what they're saying, similar intensity of wealth. But India is a very highly populated country, lot of thickly populated areas, and to have mines in different places where there is thick population, it may not be possible. India has got about 1,300 mines now, out of which 580 are for metallic minerals like zinc, manganese, copper, etc. And for your information, the mineral wealth owners are the respective states where the mine is, and only royalty is paid to center. If a state has got lot of mineral wealth, then that is a rich state. If they do a lot of mining, then they have higher GDP in the state. Just remember that. And in India, mining is regulated by Ministry of Mines, except for atomic minerals, which I'll touch upon later. Now, let me introduce the presentation to you. As I told you, Indian geologists estimate 5.71 lakh square kilometer of distribution of mineral wealth over the land mass, but we are only mining 10% of the area. 90% of the area where geologists feel there is mineral, we are not doing it because we are not expanded. Because for doing mining, you require to acquire the land, and the land has to be given to the mining company, and there would be relocation of people. So there are issues associated with this. But today we are only doing 10% of our estimated land area for having minerals. Mining contribution is about 2.1% to GDP. Mining is a part of industrial sector. So within industrial sector, it's around 11%, but otherwise, overall GDP level 2.1%. Our production value in a year is about 1.23 lakh crores. And mind you, 90% of this total value is contributed by 10 states, starting with Odisha, Rajasthan, Karnataka, so on. You can see it on the screen. So these states generate a lot of wealth and have contribution to their GDP. Only the royalty goes to the center. Private mining is around 56%, balance is PSU, it's almost 50-50 you can say. Our world rank by production is second for steel. Steel is not strictly a mineral, but it is a large component of the steel is from iron ores. So, and a lot of other additives are there, which are also minerals. So world over, steel is being talked as a product of mineral. So steel, we have second in the world today, third in aluminium and chromite, fourth in iron ore, lead, zinc, and seventh in manganese. So we are in the first 10 in respect of many ores by way of quantity of production. That means how much you have extracted from the earth. I'm not saying how much is remaining inside the earth. That is called reserve. So based on what you have extracted, we are in the first 10 in many of these things as listed in the slide. And our exports today is around, to 2021, is about 1.96 lakh crores, but imports are another 1 lakh crore more. So there is a big gap between our export and import. They're importing much more than our exports. And there is a shortfall, which means what? We are dependent on other countries for minerals to be received in India for our own industrial use, our own economic use, etc. So we will see how does this happen? How do you decide what to import? So what is your compulsion to import? First, you don't have that mineral in your country, so you have to import. It may be required for your fertilizer company. It may be required for some other industry. It may be required for manufacturing some other equipment. It may be a major component in petroleum refining. So you have to import. You don't have it in our country. Second is, you import when you want to safeguard your reserves. You don't want to eat up your reserves, but there is another country which is willing to export. So you import it and keep our reserves safe, or consume little only from your reserves and mostly depend upon what is being made available by the other country. Third, there's always a bilateral government-to-government deal against your own exports. You want to export, let's say, coal. You got lots of coal which you want to export. But the other country says, I will buy the coal from you, provided you buy zinc from me. We don't require zinc because we got lots of zinc. But still you have to do that to export your coal. So there's always a give and take in mineral exports and imports, which is a part of the strategy for as far as mineral management is concerned. And lastly, you import the mineral because you have the ore with you, but you don't have the processing facility in the country. Example is atomic minerals. Atomic minerals, you have huge reserves, huge availability, but you don't have processing facility adequately in the country. So you go and import the mineral, refined mineral from another country for your use in your plants and other installations. So importing a mineral has got multiple compulsions which we need to be aware of. Now, how does the government decide the strategy? Government says all exploration, extraction should be environmentally safe, should be sustainable. At the same time, we have to meet national goals. There could be some conflict here, but this is the statement made by the government that we protect the environment. At the same time, try and meet aspects of the necessity of the national goals. Then, based on above, the import strategy is worked out for maximizing your economic gain, because you also want to make sure that whatever you import is put to use for some other product which has got a lot of economic value, either for re-export or for your own industry. Sometimes you want to also pursue some manufacturing technology. Give an example. Let us say we want to start manufacturing windmills in the country, for which minerals are required from outside. So, and you want to put it on fast track windmills because renewable energy. So you go for speedy domestic processing and pursuit of your manufacturing technology. So there you priority. And sometimes you import when you want to improve the foreign relations with the other country, because he has got a lot to export and you want to have good relations with them. So you import it as well, even though you may have your own ores. Now, recently, government has created a new company called KABIL, Khanij Videsh Limited. It's a joint venture of 3 mining PSUs. These mining PSUs are Coal India, some copper, something, and something else, something to do with extraction. So 3 PSUs are there. So KABIL will identify, explore, and if required, buy mines abroad. Go to another country, discuss and buy a mine. We have been doing this for oil exploration. We have bought many oil wells abroad earlier. Now we are trying to buy mines abroad so that we will have the rights to take out the minerals from there. And Kabul has made some success. I'll touch upon it a little later. And India has also gone into some technology fusion into mining. They increased survey by satellites. Some special aircrafts have been put into operation, which can sense presence of metal below ground. They're gone for greater private participation, higher safety norms, and enhanced healthcare, because these are key areas as far as miners are concerned, and there's a lot of concern about it. So government has revised the policy to make sure these things are addressed. Now, broadly in the government, there are two agencies who do the management. One is Ministry of Mines, another is Department of Atomic Energy. I'll take the simpler one first. Department of Energy, Atomic Energy deals with atomic minerals. We'll touch upon later. Rest, everything is done by Ministry of Mines. I don't include in that crude oil, natural gas, and coal, because there are separate ministries for this. So come back to Ministry of Mines. They got nearly about 80 plus mines to, 80 plus minerals to look after, but they have grouped them as strategic is 10, critical is 12, rare earth, another set of 17, and some balance minerals, which are about 40. So they manage all the aspects of export, import, extraction, the mine management, private participation, safety norms, everything is done by Ministry of Mines. Let's go forward. So let us look at what is strategic mineral. Now, I think you need to look at only the definition. Strategic mineral has been defined that it is essential for socio-economic activity, including fuel. Crude oil, petrol, diesel are essential minerals required for us, for our socio-economic activity. And if you want to refine crude oil and get petroleum and LPG and diesel, etc., you have to put sulfur, you have to put lead, all these things are required. So they also become strategic. So strategic minerals are those which are required for running the country. And they are also required for continuing the defense capability during wartime. During wartime, you require assured supply of fuel for the Army, Navy, Air Force, all the aircrafts and many other installations which are requiring fuel. So strategic minerals are those which are required to keep these pipelines all the time full and giving the necessary inputs to the industries as well as for defense forces. It could be for a fertilizer plant, it could be for a refining this thing, it could be for a steel plant, etc., which have been identified by the government. And government has done this classification, saying these are our strategic minerals. And what do you do with those strategic minerals? I'll come to that. But before that, let me see what is critical mineral. Critical mineral is those, first of all, they don't include fuel. Critical minerals are those which are required to go forward in self-reliance, go forward in further technology infusion, go forward in economic development. So you're going forward in those areas. There are some things critically required. Please understand the fine difference between strategic and critical. Critical is also those where international prices are unaffordable and they're very highly priced. So therefore, you give them a special priority in your export-import strategy. and substitute is not available. You have to get this mineral only. Then only you can make a gas turbine for an aircraft. You have to get this mineral, then only you can make an X-ray plant for our hospitals. So there are specific minerals required for specific equipment, and you want them for progressing. So they come in the form of minerals of critical nature. And there are also examples where critical minerals are there which can be processed only in another country. We don't have a factory to do it. So you depend for some assistance from another country. It depends on foreign relations. It depends on his pricing strategy. So that is also called a critical mineral. And lastly, it can be from a source which is having a lot of vulnerability towards disruption. It can be a country where the setup, let's say it's not a democratic country. It has got some other form of government, some military rulers, and things can change and suddenly you find your supply chain is disrupted. So that is, those minerals which have got this vulnerability are also called critical minerals. So briefly, strategic is to go prepared for our country's safety and security, and for going the mission to work now as it is, and critical is for taking things forward with other conditions of, as I mentioned earlier. So India has identified till 2030 a set of strategic minerals and critical minerals. There are 10 of them for strategic, 12 of them critical. I will not bother you with too much of the names of this. I'll run through that when it comes to that slide. It is essentially to guide our economy to a 5 trillion level. It is to achieve the objectives of COP26. As I told you earlier, 500 gigawatts of renewable energy and carbon emission to be reduced by 1 million ton. Further, our defense programs on Atmanirbharta mandate. We want to make aircrafts in the country, tanks in the country, guns, ammunition, electronic equipment. So you require some minerals. That is to go forward. Similarly, we want solar panels to be made in the country, windmills in the country. So you require a different set of minerals. And all these strategic and critical minerals, we want either they should be mined in India if available, or processed in India by getting the ores from abroad. Now, that requires a lot of infrastructure to be created. So towards 2030, government is looking at how we can have more processing capability of strategic and critical minerals in the country. We can't be depending on another country for the refined item. We can depend on them for ores, but refined items we should be able to do in the country. Now, I'm just giving you the list. Don't bother about it. The first two are sulfur and lead, which are required for petroleum. Mercury, as I told you earlier, is for dissolving gold if you have a gold mine. Zinc, platinum, nickel, graphite, these are our important things which are required for various steel production, for batteries, galvanizing of steel, etc., and so on, steel additives and things like that. So I will not labor much on this. Please note, crude oil is not included in this table, even though it is one of the strategic minerals. I've already talked about other than crude oil. Next. Now, here is an important aspect. There are 12 critical minerals, and I'll dwell a little bit on this. First is lithium, required for rechargeable batteries of electrical vehicles, even for mobile phones, laptops, other equipment. So lithium is a very important one, and the major source is what I've listed there, but China is one of the major sources. Cobalt, required for magnets, superalloys, required in a big way for electric cars. Congo and China are the important suppliers. Germanium for electronics, again China. Indium for solar panels, China. Beryllium, China, again for aerospace and nuclear industry. So you have in this first list of 6, 5 minerals have to come from China. So how sure are you that you will continue to get this from China? What happens if you don't get from China? How it will affect us? You see the next list. Selenium is required for solar panels, again China. Gallium for semiconductors, China. Tungsten, China, which are required for electrodes. And so you find out of the 12 critical minerals you have, 9 are coming from China, or China is a major source. Otherwise, we have to find an alternative to China. And it's not only for us, it's for the world. It's for the world to identify another source, another reliable source for their critical minerals. For our critical minerals, as I told you, China is a huge factor in the supply of critical minerals. If not supply, at least availability. So I'll take a minute on gold. You need to understand this. Gold has got a separate PSU, just for information. The biggest Kolar gold fields, we all have learned in the school, right from social studies classes, that Kolar gold fields are biggest gold field, but now it is completely denuded. There's nothing left in Kolar. So it is available for auction. You want to buy a gold mine? You can buy Kolar gold mine. It's available for sale. Government has been trying to sell it for quite some time because there's no production in solar gold fields. And just for information, it has been overexploited before independent days by a private company called Messrs. John Taylor. And a lot of gold has gone away from our country, from Kolar gold fields to UK and further. So we have lost a lot of gold wealth before independence, and there is very little left. Very little left means government feels there is 70 tons of gold still available in different places in the map. You can see red dots. It is available. Kolar is not a part of it. Last year, we mined 1.6 tons of gold, which is not a bad figure if you look at the value. 1 ton of gold is 540 crores of rupees. Most important, Indian families are reportedly having 25,000 tons of gold as jewelry, and it's only increasing. So lots of jewelry, lots of gold in cupboards in houses or in bank vaults, and they're not giving much returns except to the owner of the gold, because the gold prices are going up. So anytime you can sell and recover the cost. So we have a dead investment, I should say, of this gold, and how this can be utilized in a better manner for the country is not very clear. Government tried to bring in gold bonds, was not a success. So different ideas are being discussed at this point of time. But I given you a broad picture about gold. And I told you earlier, the way we mine gold is getting the gold ore dissolved in mercury and then forming an amalgam and then vaporizing the mercury away, which is toxic, is causing a lot of pollution. And then gold is left behind, which we take. So we follow a very primitive way of doing it. World over, they have gone for different forms of mining. So that's on gold. I talked about rare earth. Now, rare earth is required for wind turbines, is required for hybrid cars, it is required for solar panels, required for computers, TV sets, etc. We have a lot of rare earth ores, but extraction of the rare earth from the ore is expensive, and we have not embarked on it enough. Today in the world, 90% supply of rare earth is by China. So you depend on the rare earth, which has to come from, rare earth is a set of 17 elements, and they are required maybe in small quantity, but they are required for these equipment either for their strength or either for their ability to withstand heat. So for many properties, you require this mineral. South Africa, Canada also having some deposits, like we also have deposit, but their processing capability is also limited. The processing capability is mostly in China, in the world today. So every country is dependent on China for rare earth, which is vital for wind turbines, as well as for solar panel, which is required for renewable energy, which is required to reduce fossil fuel. So we are actually in a problem. They're in a bind. You want to pursue renewable energy, we have to get rare earth elements available for manufacturing these equipment. I'll leave it at this point and pick it up later when we come. Another point with rare earth is when you do processing, some of them lead to radioactive waste, and disposal of that is a problem. So I think this is one of the main reasons why in India, processing of rare earth has not progressed. It has been, actually, I should say it has been neglected because we have enough and it's freely available. It was freely available. It may not be available in the years to come. So we need to look at this. How are we going to tackle the issue of rare earth? But what we are not tapped is rare earth, which has been used in electronic equipment, which has been declared obsolete, which has been declared defective, and which is piling up as mountains in various cities. They're not trying to recycle it out of those electronic waste. Many countries have started it. We haven't started yet as far as rare earth is concerned, but that's an untapped source. We may be able to get rare earth by recycling some of the electronic waste, which is in huge quantity at the moment in India and available as scrap. Last point on atomic minerals. I told you it's managed by Department of Atomic Energy. Mostly it is uranium and thorium. We have got 2% and 30% of the world's reserves respectively. Lots of thorium dust. We also have the 5th largest rare earths, as I told you earlier, but not exploited. Very limited processing is taking place under 2 PSUs. One is UCIL and one is IRL, I think Indian Rare Earth and Uranium Corporation of India. So it's a neglected area. And we haven't really progressed both in rare earth and in atomic minerals. Gold, of course, we don't have anything left much. So what is to be looked at is how we are going to manage the minerals required for our transition to cleaner energy. So I come back to the old slide again. So we need to look at Ministry of Mines needs to balance out how to re-strategize for our transition to clean energy. And Atomic Energy Department also need to make sure rare earth is available, which is a key ingredient for renewable energy equipment. So I now go to India's immediate needs. India wants solar cells, required silicon, silver, indium, arsenic, gallium, germanium, tellurium. These are required. India requires to manufacture wind turbines, chromium, manganese, molybdenum, nickel, rare earth again. Electrical vehicles, lithium, cobalt, rare earth, etc. So we have a situation that these equipment are very critical for us for our renewable energy, for cleaner energy transition, but all these minerals are required. Let us see how much is available in the country. Can we manage with what we have, or do we need to import? We'll have a look. But before that, I want to tell you the critical aspect. Look at this slide. Don't look at the left-hand side because I couldn't get a good image. But I will tell you what is on the right-hand side, which is the summary of what is on the left. Every electric car requires 200 kgs of minerals, while in the conventional car, it's around 35 kgs only. So 6 times more minerals are required for every car when you go for electric car. Every windmill, if it is offshore, it is 15 tons required per megawatt energy, which will generate. And for onshore, 10 tons. Now, why this difference? I want to tell you, offshore wind turbines and onshore land-based wind turbines, they cater for different wind speeds. Offshore is catering for higher wind speed, so they need to be stronger. And they are installed out in the sea, so they are exposed to more adverse environmental situation. So the minerals required to strengthen the windmill turbine blades requirement is higher. That's why it requires 15 tons of minerals. Per megawatt it will produce. Solar panels require 7 tons of mineral per megawatt, while nuclear plant will be surprised because only 5 tons of mineral per megawatt. Of course, coal-based plant also requires some 2.5 tons because there are many equipment which are working in the furnace where the coal is smelting of the coal take place. So the furnace equipment also requires minerals for manufacture. But you will find, and natural gas also requires turbines to run to produce electricity. They also require minerals, but you will see they require less than 10 tons. All this, while the higher end electric cars and windmills require more. Now, this is how the electric car looks, and see where all minerals are used. I'm not going into the names of the minerals, but whether it's for windscreen, for headlight, or battery, or engine, or some other protection equipment, catalytic converter, all this require minerals, which are either belonging to rare earth, or some of them are already critical minerals for us in India for different components and systems. So I given for batteries, electric motors, etc. So new cars have a problem. They require more minerals. Do we have enough? Can we go to electric cars, or are you going to import all the components and various systems? Now, let me go to the next slide. Don't look at the left-hand side again. I got it from an international publication. It's not very clear. Now, let us say you got a lot of mineral ore available. Where's the problem then? You can set up a processing plant and extract it. But for the processing plant to run, for the extraction machinery to run, you require energy. So you require electrical power, or you require fuel, petrol, diesel. So carbon emission takes place when you extract, when you process it to refining the metal or the mineral. Again, carbon emission takes place, and somebody has done a study, the International Institute has done a study. For every ton of nickel, 68 tons of carbon is emitted, either in extraction or in refinement and processing. Cobalt, 40 tons. Lithium, 25 tons of carbon emission. Lithium is, you think, is the answer for reducing carbon emission from your car because it'll run on lithium battery. But to produce lithium, you have to discharge some carbon into the atmosphere. So all these aspects need to be studied while we go to cleaner energy. Well, aluminium, copper, zinc, etc., they are all smaller quantities. But I've highlighted nickel, cobalt, and lithium, which are required in a big way for electric cars. So now come back to that slide. Solar panels, wind turbines, electric vehicles. Out of all the minerals required, only 2 are available in India: chromium and manganese. Balance everything you import. So either you import the mineral and then make a solar panel in the country, or make a wind turbine in the country, or you buy the solar panel and wind turbine from outside. So these are 2 options available. How cost effective is option 1 versus option 2. I'm sure will be being studied by different people. Because at the moment we are only making, there are only few industries in India which are making solar panels, and there are only few industries or factories making wind turbine, but they're all for land-based operation. When you go offshore, you require stronger wind turbine, as I told you. So we may have to import. So I think the renewable energy ministry will look at all these aspects and say, should we import turbine or manufacture turbine after importing mineral? So that is a topic for another talk, another day. Right. So India's import of minerals conundrum, based on whatever I've told you now, we are going to be dependent on imports for strategic and critical metals, like we have been dependent on oil for 100 years plus. So we should be prepared that we are to depend on some other set of countries for our minerals to pursue our strategic and critical metal requirement. Minerals requirement. China is a major source, as I showed you earlier. Either they have the ores, or they have the ores and processing facility. Either way, they are the major source for most of the minerals which you require. So we need to look at which are other sources available, so that we don't have any supply risk at some point of time. Somebody will increase the price, somebody will say, I can't give it to you, or somebody will say, we will need to look at where you're using it. All sort of risks are associated with this. So I'm just showing you some alternative sources. For antimony, China is the main source, but otherwise you can go to Russia. For cobalt, Congo is the main source. Otherwise, you can go to Australia and Russia. Rare earth is China. You can go to Australia. Remember, sometime back I told you, India is as well endowed as Australia as per geologists. We're not utilizing it. We are not exploiting it. So Australia is in a big way in mineral wealth. You will see from this, they are figuring in the alternative source for many minerals. So if these minerals are available in Australia, it's likely they are available in India, but we haven't explored enough. So nickel, which is the crucial thing for electrical vehicles and for solar panels. Today, it is mostly coming from Canada and USA. If you're having any problem with that, we may have to go to Brazil and South Africa. So like this, alternative sources available for most of the minerals. I just given an example of 5-6 of them, so that the government is trying to examine how we can minimize supply risk from a source, not the one which is having maximum amount, but to another country from where we can import. So how do you examine the risk? There is a supply risk which is examined by way of what the country's GDP is, what is the type of government they have, and what is the type of labor unrest or otherwise is there in the country. So you look at all that, and then how important it is economically for us to import. So if you look at lithium, it's extremely important for us to economically to import. Supply risk is a little low because there are multiple sources available other than China. Similarly, for some few examples I have given. So this sort of matrix is available with some literature in this field. So government is able to strategize and say, here we have a problem of supply risk, here we have a problem of not good foreign relations. So we should look at all this and then decide how do we go about for that particular mineral. So I will now go back to my presentation. Sorry, we went through this. Right. Now, I told you Kabul has been formed. It's been a bit of a success. because they have already gone into a MOU with Australia in this year, few months back, for lithium and cobalt. They have established some partnership with Australia, and they have established a partnership with Argentina for lithium. So these things need to be taken forward and see how the imports can materialize from Australia and Argentina. So mineral imports are not trade deals alone. That's an important factor. They're not just trade deals. You went to another country and say, I want to buy this. They're also very carefully nurtured foreign relations. So between two countries, when there is mineral export and import taking place, perhaps 20 years back, it was a trade deal, but slowly in the last decade, it has become a part of the foreign relations which you have with the country, because each country knows that the one which has got mineral has a lot to contribute to the economic development of the other countries who want that mineral. So this is an important factor which I want you to remember. Let's look at what is the geopolitical awareness of this. I'm talking from India's point of view, but let us look at geopolitical awareness. EU, Japan, China, Australia have re-strategized their doctrines the last few years. I said India has revised its 2019 mining policy, but a strategy document is not available in the public domain. It may be with the government, but other countries already put in their public domain. USA, I'm telling you an example, has got 31 critical metals for their industry, out of which 14 of them are 100% imported. And President Trump, during his last year in office, ordered expanding domestic mining. Let us mine more, explore more areas and see whether we have, and do it. And the subsequent government has ensured that this order, this executive order, is still continued. So what I'm saying is, USA is continuing with exploring more in their country for their critical metals. Like I told you initially, we got 90% untapped wealth, and we need to look at how we can get more from our own landmass. Third point, US has formed a partnership with 11 other nations, right? Which includes EU, Australia, UK, Italy, Canada, etc. Saying China plus one strategy. That means there should be one alternative to China for every mineral. It's called China plus one strategy. They formed in June 22, 5 months back. And they have formed this not only for critical minerals, but also for rare earths. Unfortunately, India is not a part of this partnership, which is called Mineral Security Partnership. And apparently, the apparent reason is we don't bring on table enough reserves, enough identified mineable reserves. We don't bring expertise, and we don't have the technology to do many other work for processing and refining. So we may be fifth economy in the world. We have huge ambitions as far as renewable energy is concerned. We want a lot of minerals, but when the partnership was formed, we have been excluded basically because we don't have the knowledge and expertise. Now go back to what I said earlier. Mining of minerals, strategic or critical or rare earth, has been a neglected area in our country. We have not consolidated adequately to get respect from other countries in the world. We don't bring on table knowledge, iron ores or technology, etc. It's an important factor. We need to look at this very, very great detail, how to do it. Now, with fossil energy on its downward trend, at least in the minds of many countries, and say renewable energy will come, present oil leaders, Saudi Arabia, for example, they're re-strategizing for emergence of minerals as a new oil. 120 years back, when oil started flowing from the Middle East to many countries, and Middle East became very prosperous and rich, they were oil-rich countries. Now, they have already started re-strategizing, saying now oil won't fetch us that much of wealth in the future as minerals would. And they're calling the minerals as a new oil, which will command them into a dominant position in the world affairs. So it's important for us to know what is happening in the world around us. Okay, so India's strategy has been done by Niti Aayog. I'll just quickly run through it to say that this is what the government has said. He says potential is huge, similar to Australia. I told you about it. They want to expand the exploration from present 10% to 20% of the area, notwithstanding the difficulty of acquiring land. They want to increase mining from 3% growth to 14% growth, and employment to 15 million from 10 million. These are our aims, which Niti Aayog has formulated. Reduce imports because they are much more than our exports. More private participation by revising policy. Utilize areas in the states which are reserved for bulk mining. I think a lot of dialogue seems to be in the offing with the states so that they can expand the mining with the concurrence of the states so that we are able to increase our exports and form a new set of rules for private participation in rare earth. Rare earth done by atomic energy has been done only by two PSUs, which I told you, Uranium Corporation of India and Indian Rare Earth Limited. So Niti Aayog feels that there should be more people coming in from the private industry to accelerate the exploration, processing, etc. of rare earth. So I come to the conclusions. India is naturally endowed. I told you we are in the top 7 for many. As regards strategic and critical minerals, we are going to be dependent on imports. Similarly for rare earth, even though rare earth is a sadder story. We have ores, but no processing capability. So we are going to depend on all this on imports for the next foreseeable future. I would say 10 to 15 years, we're going to be dependent on imports. Imports from where is the issue? We'll have to look at alternative sources other than from where we are importing from China. We need to look at eco-friendly mining activity to the other areas next in consultation with states. Kabil was formed is a good idea, but they have only formed 2 MOUs. They have signed 2 MOUs with Australia and Argentina. They need to go forward. They need to do with more other countries in buying mines, etc., so that our requirements are met. And transition from fossil to renewable, we need to make sure these minerals are available either through imports or through indigenous ores so that we can manufacture electric vehicles, solar panels, and windmills, which are required for renewable energy programs in our country. So this is my conclusion. So I ask this question: is India's mineral security a challenge? Is it a challenge? You can formulate the answer yourself after hearing from what I've said. It's time the government contextualizes mineral security as an important component of national security, because minerals are going to form the new oil very soon. And they need to look at minerals not only for critically technology-wise, they need to look at for domestic manufacture, and it has to be combined with foreign relations so that we are able to have reliable partners who will give us critical metals, critical minerals, strategic minerals, rare earths for our development and going towards higher levels of economy. We also need to create some processing facility in the country because we got rare earth ores, abundant ores, but which are not doing. We have a very limited facility now, but that may not be good enough. And defense, aerospace, and nuclear industries, there's a requirement for them to periodically study recycling of minerals from old equipment, defective equipment, scrap equipment, and see how they can recycle it, because availability abroad is not assured. So we have to look at alternative ways of generating mineral from recycling. And perhaps even substitution. They can look at, instead of rare earth 1, can we use rare earth 3? And what will be the implication? They need to look at all these aspects so that government is able to fine-tune our mineral security. So as for me, my conclusion is mineral security is going to be a challenge for us in the foreseeable future. Very soon, it is going to bite us. Say, let's say from 2025 to 2040, we will feel that minerals are going to be the new oil, which will drive not only the renewable energy programs, but also global climate control programs, and as well as our economic development. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I finished with my talk. And if there are any questions, I'm ready to answer them. I will stop sharing this presentation.
So thank you very much, sir. It's a wonderful presentation. സാധാരണ ഒരു കൺവെൻഷണൽ രീതിയിൽ നമ്മൾ ഇന്ത്യയെ കാണുന്നതിന് പകരമായിട്ട് വളരെ എക്സ്ട്രാ ഓർഡിനറി ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ലെവലിലാണ് സാർ അത് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്തത്. വാട്ട് ഈസ് അവർ മിനറൽ capacity, what is the mineral security and what is the mineral strategy? ഈ വിഷയങ്ങളെ കുറിച്ച് സാർ വളരെ മനോഹരമായി, ഒരുപക്ഷെ ഇത്ര മനോഹരമായിട്ട് സാറിന് എങ്ങനെ ഈ മിനറൽ സ്ട്രാറ്റജിയെ കുറിച്ച് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെന്ന് ഞാൻ വണ്ടർഫുൾ ആയിട്ട് ശരിക്കും ഞാനത് വണ്ടർ ആവുകയാണ്. സാർ പറഞ്ഞ കുറേ പോയിന്റ്സ്, വളരെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കുറേ പോയിന്റ്സ് പറഞ്ഞു. 2019 കാബിൽ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു സിസ്റ്റം ഇംപ്ലിമെന്റ് ചെയ്തു നമ്മുടെ മിനറൽ സെക്യൂരിറ്റിയെ ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി. അതുപോലെ ഫോസിൽ ഫ്യൂവലിൽ നിന്ന് റിന്യൂവബിൾ എനർജിയിലേക്ക് മാറാനുള്ള ഒരു സിസ്റ്റം. അതുപോലെ ഏകദേശം 100-ൽ അധികം മിനറൽസ് അത് കൂടുതൽ അവൈലബിൾ ആണ്. 2400-ഓളം ഓർഡിനറി സിമ്പിൾ സ്മോൾ മിനറൽസ് ഓൾസോ അവൈലബിൾ. അതിൽ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ 95 ടൈപ്സ് അവൈലബിൾ ആണ്. 4 ഫ്യൂവൽസ് ആണ്, 3 ആറ്റോമിക് ആണ്, 55 മൈനർ നോൺ മെറ്റാലിക് എലമെന്റ്സ് ഉണ്ട്, അതുപോലെ 10 മെറ്റാലിക് ആണ്. വളരെ മനോഹരമായി നമ്മുടെ റിസോഴ്സ് എന്താണെന്ന് സാർ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്തു. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ 10 സ്ട്രാറ്റജിക് മിനറൽസ് നമുക്ക് ആവശ്യമുണ്ടെന്നും, അതുപോലെ 12 ക്രിട്ടിക്കൽ മിനറൽസ്, ഇതിൽ 9 ചൈനയിൽ നിന്നാണ് നമുക്കിപ്പോൾ ലഭിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇന്ത്യയിൽ അത്രമാത്രം സ്കേഴ്സിറ്റി ഉണ്ടെന്നും, എന്നാൽ തുടർന്നുള്ള കാലഘട്ടങ്ങളിൽ പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഗ്രീൻ ടെക്നോളജി റെവല്യൂഷൻ ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നതനുസരിച്ച് സോളാർ സെല്ലിനും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഇലക്ട്രിക്കൽ വെഹിക്കിൾസിനും വിൻമില്ലിനുമെല്ലാം വളരെ എസെൻഷ്യൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഈ ഫെസിലിറ്റി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ മിനറൽസിന്റെ സപ്പോർട്ട് അത് അത്രമാത്രം നമ്മളുടെ കുറവാണെന്നും സാർ പറഞ്ഞു. കാർബൺ എമിഷനെ കുറിച്ച് പറയുമ്പോൾ ഇതൊക്കെ വളരെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആണ്. അതുപോലെ നമ്മളെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ നമുക്ക് അവൈലബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഗോൾഡ്, അത് നമ്മുടെ ഇൻഡിപെൻഡൻസിന് മുമ്പ് തന്നെ ഇറ്റ് വാസ് ഓൾറെഡി ലൂട്ടഡ് എന്ന് പറയാമോ എന്നറിയില്ല. എനിവേ ഇറ്റ് വാസ് നോട്ട് ഹിയർ. പക്ഷെ അതിനേക്കാളും വലിയ ഫണ്ടി ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു എലമെന്റ് സാർ പറഞ്ഞത് ഏകദേശം 25,000 ടൺസ് ആസ് ജുവലറി നമ്മുടെ വീടുകളിൽ ശേഖരിച്ചു വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നു. അതൊരു എന്താണ് പറയുന്നത്, നോട്ട് പ്രൊഡക്റ്റീവ് എന്ന് സാർ പറഞ്ഞു. സോ ഇറ്റ്സ് എ റിയലി എ വണ്ടർഫുൾ ടോക്ക്. എന്താണ് ശരിക്കും മിനറൽ എന്നും മിനറൽ സ്ട്രാറ്റജി എന്തായിരിക്കണമെന്നും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ മിനറൽ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ന്യൂ ഓയിലാണെന്ന് സാർ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്തു. അതുപോലെ ഈ മിനറൽസ് എല്ലാം റീസൈക്കിൾ ചെയ്യാനുള്ള കപ്പാസിറ്റി ഇപ്പൊ US ഒക്കെ എടുത്ത പോലത്തെ ഒരു സ്ട്രാറ്റജി നമ്മളെ സംബന്ധിച്ചോളം നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യേണ്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നു. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഇന്ത്യയുടെ റിസോഴ്സ് ഒരു ഓസ്ട്രേലിയൻ കോൺസെപ്റ്റിൽ പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇന്ത്യയിലും ഇതെല്ലാം അവൈലബിൾ ആണ്. പക്ഷെ ആവശ്യത്തിന് മൈൻ ചെയ്തെടുക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു സ്ട്രാറ്റജിയാണ് ഏറ്റവും ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് എന്നും സാർ പറഞ്ഞു. സോ റിയലി വണ്ടർഫുൾ സാർ. താങ്ക് യു വെരി മച്ച്. ആൻഡ് ഐ വെൽക്കം Sandhanakrishnan sir. He was an IIT professor. And Sandhanakrishnan sir, can you say something about?
Thank you, Dr. Sabu sir.
Doctor sir, just 1 minute. I want to clarify on the gold to Sabu, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
No, I said 25,000 tons of gold is held with private individuals, families. They are held as maybe insurance for them, maybe for them to feel safe for any future requirement. But what I am saying is it is not directly contributing to the government or to the people.
Yes.
So individuals are feeling nice that there is some gold and they can feel safe about it. But we haven't had a mechanism by which this wealth, which is there, which is coming around, I think 12-13 lakh crores, is gold. And it is going up with gold prices going up. So there should be some method by which this can be harnessed, can be utilized. That was my larger point.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not saying it is useless. It is useful to the people who are.
Yes, it's not productive. That's what I.
It is non-productive, definitely, but it is increasing value.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Sandhanakrishnan.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Vice Admiral Kannan Saab. It was really a wonderful talk and presentation with tons of information, which of course we were quite ignorant of that. I just wanted to get some information about titanium. I don't think you have mentioned about it. Could you just throw some light on the titanium? I think we have a company in titanium products in Kerala also, right?
Kerala.
If you don't mind.
Titanium, to my knowledge, is not in our strategic minerals or critical minerals. Our reserves are adequate to meet our requirement. This is what I can say from my memory, but I will have to refer my literature to say exactly on whether titanium, but it is not in the list.
I see. Okay.
So the government feels that we have enough available.
Very good. And it was a really wonderful presentation, and you could get a lot of some knowledge about this rare earth, atomic minerals, and recycling of e-waste and things like that. And finally, you highlighted about this new oil. It is something really great information, and we'll have to talk about it and learn much about it. So nice of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I can tell you now itself. Titanium, our reserves are about 4 million tons in India. Some of them are not, is an estimate, of course. The mining has not started, but it is expected that this requirement will be adequate. That's why it has not been included in the critical minerals.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. One more engineer we have, I think, Sri Kumar sir. Can you, Sri Kumar Shankaran, please? Just unmute, sir. Unmute, sir. We are not hearing. Sir, കേൾക്കുന്നില്ല. Unmute ചെയ്യാമോ? കേൾക്കുന്നില്ല. Unmute ആയില്ല, sir. Unmute ആയില്ല. Yes.
Good evening. Actually, I am batchmate of KANNAN, and we are all very much keen to listen to his lectures.
Thank you, Sri. Thank you very much.
Because he has a wide knowledge of everything, A to Z. And in fact, this is our Okay. So our batch is having too much pride to have a so knowledgeable person among us to explain such a critical and very what we call absurd things and abstract things, which for layman people they cannot understand. So Kannan is a very knowledgeable person, and I wish him more success in the future to come out with so many lectures like this to enlighten us. Okay, Kannan. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Sri. I just want to tell that I have been giving talks only on topics which are of interest to people from the point that in the future this is going to be a very important factor.
Yeah.
Right? If you look at my earlier talks also, I've been just selecting topics which our people should know, people at our level should know that these are issues which are emerging. Everything does not come in print media. And anyway, print media is not the favorite now. And when you do the electronic media, you get overloaded with a lot of chaff.
Yeah.
And you don't get time to see some discussions on some very serious topics.
Yes.
So mineral security, as I see, is a very serious topic, right? So I thought I should put my thoughts, acquire some more knowledge on that, and then make a presentation to this team so that you people are aware that this is a factor which is going to emerge in the future.
Yes.
Right. Last time, I think I spoke on digital economy, and I said how digital economy has come and what is going to happen. And I'm happy, Sabu, digital rupee has already been released on 1st of December.
Yes.
So I've always been on the look for some topics which are of importance to the country, importance to the senior citizens of India who have a lot of experience and wisdom, and for them to be aware that these issues are going to be very critical for us in the years ahead. Present generation, I think they're very busy with their work.
They're not that much.
They don't have time to.
But we
so
really wonder how come you find all the time to prepare all these things with so much various subjects.
I'm motivated by my elder brother who works a lot. So
he was in Bang. He was in Bang.
Yes, he's sitting there in the audience.
Yeah. No, before you were telling me.
Yeah.
സാറിന്റെ ഈ ത്രെഡാണ് കറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ത്രെഡ് കറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് സാർ അത് കറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ഫൈൻഡ് ഔട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഞാൻ വിചാരിക്കുന്നു ഇന്ത്യൻ ഗവൺമെന്റ് ഇത്രമാത്രം ക്യൂരിയസ് ആണോ ഈ സബ്ജക്റ്റിനെ കുറിച്ച് എന്നുള്ളത് നമുക്ക് ചിന്തിക്കേണ്ടിയിരിക്കും.
Indian government is, I should tell you, there is a document which has been issued by Niti Aayog India at 75. It's a strategy document, out of which one chapter is on minerals. Right. So, and that document has got many chapters, medical services. Of course, it doesn't include defense, but includes on industries. It looks on urbanization. It looks at waterways. It looks at shipping, port, etc. So the documents which come out of ministries are very, very useful. You get the actual fact on the ground by way of because they are published by the government. It's like a parliamentary question, so the truth will be there, but in between the lines we have to read a little bit.
Yes. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Anyway, that's a nice talk.
Yeah, thank you, Jyoti.
Thank you, Sabu. Thank you for giving me.
Kannan sir, namaskar.
Namaskar.
Very you are presented after a long interval. I am hearing an English lecture. Just I was thinking whether I am sitting in the physics class in colleges. But your presentation style is more than a professor. Thank you, sir. Then you started
Thank you.
with mineral security. You started with the landmark mineral and the seabed minerals. So these two types of minerals, these are all new things as far as a common man. These are all new things and very interested also, sir. So thank you. Then so many things you have mentioned. Then in India, we are having 95 types of mineral and in whole world, 2,400. Yes. Then that is also a one agreement. The owner of the mineral are in state government, but the royalty has to be paid to the central government. Yes, sir. So these are all things, and as you now mentioned, in almost all in our government department, experts and efficient, devoted people are there. But these politicians are not giving the real or concerned, they are not deserving, they are not giving any opportunity or appreciation to those people. Because of these are the departments we are working, and this department, Ministry of Mine, Ministry of Atomic Energy, Ministry of Petroleum, Ministry of Coal. Then for these are the then Kabil have formed, and the purpose of the Kabil, this thing Kabil. So these are all these things are going on year by year. Researchers are going on, but our politicians are not giving much importance on this thing, or they are not encouraging. That is the thing. Then you were telling about 5.71 lakh square kilometer in India, and 10% areas are having, and just commencing mining, is it not? So this is so costly. Yeah, 44% government and 56% in private entity. And this is also the steel. The second, India is second in the world and fourth in iron ore and lead. So then we export 1.9 lakhs of crores to export, and we import 2.96. So the imbalancing is there. So the reasons you have mentioned. Okay. Then China holds abundant major mineral. Everybody is depending on that. And yes, we have to, because of the satellite, that is an GPS system. We were depending upon America. In the 72 China war, you are very well experienced now. They have banned it, and we find it difficult. And thereafter only we have decided to, our own satellite has to be there. Is it not, sir? You can tell your experience. Yes, sir. Then extraction is rare earth. Extraction is so costly. So 95% is China. Okay, sir. Then this is first time information for me. Cars are using this much of minerals. Every day we are using this vehicle. As if the petrol is the essential thing, all other things are parts only. But it is a new knowledge for me. Electric car requires 735 kilogram. Oh,
No, electric cars require more.
Yeah, electric car more. Yes, sir. Yeah. Correct. Carbon emission production. Require electric power. So many these are all there. So your class was very nice, sir. Then at the same time, I am remembering, you are very well versed of SR-71, America's old super spy plane, SR-71. That SR-71 plane, the major portion of its parts are titanium. They has been brought from Russia. Is it not, sir? Because USA don't have that much of titanium. In those days, they have secretly kadati ingotu konduvannaanu. Adil Kelly Johnson, Lockheed chief Kelly Johnson, titanium Russia kadatiyedu. അതിന് മുമ്പുണ്ടായിരുന്ന യൂട്യൂബ് മാറിയിട്ടാണല്ലോ SR-71 വരുന്നത്. ഞാനതൊക്കെ വായിച്ചിരുന്നു. ഒരു ദിവസം ഞാൻ ഇവിടെ ഈ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിലെ ക്ലാസ് എടുത്തിരുന്നു, സർ.
You are not there. Just a comment on that, because titanium has got very good strength, and for aircrafts which are going to be flying at higher speeds, and especially in higher altitudes, they do require metals which are strong to be used. So titanium was necessary, and higher the speed, more heat. It should be able to withstand the heat, etc. 2-3 points. First of all, I'm very thankful to you. You made so much of notes out of what I said. But apart from that, I just want to tell you, seabed minerals and land-based minerals, I make a small clarification.
Yes.
Any country having minerals on land, it is free to exploit. Any country having minerals lying on the seabed is not permitted to mine it till such time the international organization called International Seabed Authority, ISBA, it gives approval. It has not given approval for commercial mining till now to any country. However, it has given approval to few countries to do R&D work and develop technology for mining from seabed. India is also progressing that. But commercial mining, it is not
Permitted.
started in the world anywhere.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I said the clarification on that.
Thank you.
And one more clarification. 2,400 minerals which are found in the world are in very small quantities. Chemically, they are different, but they are found in extremely small quantities. If you remember periodic table, Hari will remember better than me, but I think periodic table is only about 100. Hari?
118.
118. Oh, there you are. So 118 left, about 100 plus minerals which are finding. Some minerals are combination of more than one metal, right? So important is about 100 minerals, which will give you all the requirement of 118 metals of the periodic table. Right? The 2,400 means very, very negligible, but they have been found in different places. After all, metals have been formed when Earth was actually formed. So minerals have got deposited in many places due to the heat which had gone through it at that point of time.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you. Thank you.
Useful information.
Dr. Taney.
Hello, sir. It was really, there was a lot of new information. So it was, and I want to add some small thing. In medical field, medical grade is used for substituting bones and all. Zirconia is also used as implants in teeth, bones and all. So you have any?
Tenny, clear disturbance.
I know medical field requires a lot of minerals, like at least I can tell you for joints, molybdenum is required for replacement of various joints. I'm sure medical field requires in imagery and X-rays and various other CT machines, etc. A lot of minerals are used in manufacture of that equipment. Okay, so one needs to be a specialist in that field to come on which all minerals are used. My idea is to tell in India, are we going towards a difficult period ahead as far as minerals are concerned, or are we having options available to tide over our immediate requirement of electric cars, windmills, and solar panels? This is the major thing. Any other question?
So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Tenny. Thank you.
Hari sir, please. Unmute type.
very uncommon subject, he made it very interesting to people. That has come, that is evident from the questions they have asked. I never thought people would ask questions on this subject. As a matter of fact, I was discussing with my son-in-law why this man has chosen this subject for. It's not a very common subject, because we are all used to humorous ആയിട്ട് സംസാരിക്കുക, ജോവിയിലായിട്ട് സംസാരിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളത്. എങ്ങനെ ഇത്രയും വയസ്സുകാലത്ത് ആൾക്കാരെ കേട്ടോണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ that means he made the talk anyway. He touchwood right from the younger days. He is good at talk, giving lectures and giving talk, and he has come up to, he proved himself. He is again good at talk. Anyway, all the best to him. And a blessing from my elder brother.
Sir, technically, ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇത് വളരെ ഇഷ്ടമാണ് സാറേ. ടെക്നിക്കൽ പീപ്പിൾ ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി വിൽ ക്യാച്ച്.
ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത് അൺകോമൺ സബ്ജക്റ്റിനെ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിംഗ് ആക്കുക എന്നുള്ളത് വലിയൊരു കഴിവാണത്.
ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിംഗ്. നമുക്കൊരു പേടിയായി. ഇപ്പൊ സാറ് പറയുന്ന പോലെ നമ്മൾ എത്രമാത്രം ശ്രദ്ധിക്കണം, ഈ മിനറലൊക്കെ ഇല്ലാതെ വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എങ്ങനെയാകും എന്നൊക്കെയുള്ള ഒരു എന്താ പറയുക, ഒരു ഫിയറിലേക്ക്, ഒരു സൈക്കോളജിക്കൽ ഫിയറിലേക്ക് നമ്മളെ എത്തിച്ചു.
You should be aware. You should be aware.
പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, see, we depend on China for everything now. For everything we are depending on China. കാരണം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ നമ്മുടെ രാഷ്ട്രീയമാണ്, ലേബർ പോളിസി എല്ലാം കൊണ്ടാണ് അതൊക്കെ സംഭവിക്കുന്നത്. നമ്മുടെ ഒന്നും വേണ്ട, ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഇതിലുള്ള പ്ലാറ്റിനം കോപ്പർ പ്ലാന്റ് ചൈനീസിന്റെ ഇത് ഒളിമ്പിക്സ് നടന്ന സമയത്ത് ക്ലോസ് ചെയ്ത് കളഞ്ഞില്ലേ. Now 76% of our requirement was met by that plant at Thuthukudi. Now it is not there. നമ്മൾ തന്നെയാണ് റെസ്പോൺസിബിൾ ഇതിനകത്ത്.
അവിടെയാണ് നമുക്ക് ചില കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ മനസ്സിലാക്കേണ്ടത്. ചൈനയാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് കാര്യമൊന്നുമില്ല.
അല്ലല്ല, ചൈനയിൽ ഇതുപോലെ ക്ലോസ് ചെയ്യാൻ സമ്മതിക്കത്തില്ല.
It has happened.
Yes. George sir, പറയട്ടെ.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Vice Admiral B. Kannan, sir. AVSM, PVSM, VSM. Congratulations, sir. Great presentation. വാസ്തവത്തില് ഈ വേദിയിൽ വന്ന VVIP അഡ്മിറൽ കണ്ണൻ സാർ തന്നെയാണ്. ഇത്ര വലിയ ഒരാളുടെ പ്രഭാഷണം ഞാൻ ഈ വേദി വേറെ കേട്ടിട്ടില്ല. അത് ഹരിഹരൻ സാർ ഉണ്ടായതുകൊണ്ട് കിട്ടിയതാണെന്ന് ഞാൻ വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു. സാറേ, അതുകൊണ്ട് മാത്രമാണ്. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ വേദിയിലൊന്നും സങ്കല്പിക്കാൻ പോലും കഴിയാത്ത പേഴ്സണാലിറ്റി ആണല്ലോ സാറേ. സാറേ, ഈ വിഷയം അതീവ താല്പര്യം എനിക്ക് തോന്നി. കാരണം വെച്ചാല് ഈ രാജ്യത്തിന്റെ ഭാവിയെ കുറിച്ച് ഒത്തിരി കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഇതിൽ ഒളിഞ്ഞു കിടക്കുന്നു. അതുപോലെ നമ്മൾ കളിക്കോപ്പ് പോലെ എല്ലാത്തിനും ചൈനയെ ആശ്രയിക്കുന്നുണ്ട് സ്ഥിതിവിശേഷം. ഞാനിതൊക്കെ ഇങ്ങനെ ഓർക്കുമ്പോ നാളെ കുറിച്ചൊക്കെ ചിലപ്പോഴൊക്കെ വലിയ പ്രതീക്ഷകൾ തോന്നി, ചിലയിടത്തൊക്കെ വലിയ പ്രതിസന്ധികളും നമ്മുടെ മുമ്പിൽ ഉണ്ടെന്നുള്ളതാണ് വാസ്തവം. ഇനി കൂടുതൽ ഇപ്പൊ സാറ് പറഞ്ഞ 25,000 ടൺ സ്വർണം വീടുകളിലുണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞല്ലേ, 50,000 ടൺ ദേവാലയങ്ങളിൽ കാണുമെന്നുള്ളതാണ് എനിക്കൊരു പക്ഷെ തോന്നുന്നത് ഭാരതത്തില്. അറിയില്ല, എന്നാലും സാധ്യത കൂടുതലാണ്. ഇനി മറ്റൊരു കാര്യം സാറേ, നമ്മൾ ഈ പരമ്പരാഗത ഊർജം ഒക്കെ കുറച്ച് കാർബൺ എമിഷൻ കുറയ്ക്കുമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കെ ഈയിടെയായിട്ട് നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ മുഴുവൻ ഈ പെട്രോളിയം കമ്പനികളുടെ ഔട്ട്ലെറ്റുകൾ ഒരു കണക്കില്ലാതെ തുറക്കുകയാണ്. എന്തൊരു കഥയാണ് ഇത് ഔട്ട്ലെറ്റുകൾ കുറച്ച് ഇലക്ട്രിക് കാർ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ആ ഒരു ഊർജ രീതി മാറുമെന്ന് കരുതിയിരുന്നിടത്ത് എന്താ അറിയില്ല, അതൊരു ദുരൂഹമായ ഒരു പ്രവൃത്തി പോലെ തോന്നുന്നു. എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ കാണുമായിരിക്കും, നല്ലതാണോ ചീത്തയാണോ എന്ന് സംശയം തോന്നി. ഞാനൊന്ന് പങ്കുവെച്ചതേ ഉള്ളൂ. താങ്ക് യു സാർ, ഒത്തിരി സന്തോഷം.
താങ്ക് യു.
സാറേ, അത് ജോർജ് സാർ, അത് ഈ മയക്കുമരുന്നിന്റെ ഉപയോഗം എന്ന് പറയുന്ന പോലെയാണ്. ദർ ഈസ് സംതിങ് ഇൻസൈഡ്. അപ്പൊ അത് അങ്ങനെ അങ്ങ് പോകും. ഓക്കെ, അനിത മാം.
Okay, sir. Very good presentation. First of all, we can appreciate Kannan sir. Sir, ഒരു പോയിന്റ് പറഞ്ഞു, mineral imports are not just trade deals but also of carefully natured foreign relations. That is very മിനറൽസ് നമ്മള് വേറൊരു സ്ഥലത്ത് നിന്ന് നമ്മൾ കൊണ്ടുവരുമ്പോൾ അത് കെയർഫുൾ ആയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഡീല് ചെയ്യണം എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ഇതും കൂടി ഉണ്ട്. പിന്നെ റിയർ എർത്ത് അത് ചൈനയിൽ മാത്രമല്ല ഓസ്ട്രേലിയയിലും കൂടെ ഉണ്ട് എന്ന് സാർ കാണിച്ചു തന്നു. പലതും ഞാൻ നോട്ട് ചെയ്തായിരുന്നു. ചൈനയിൽ മാത്രം അല്ല, അത് വേറൊരു പൂരകമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പ്രദേശം കൂടി ഉണ്ട് എന്ന് സാർ അത് നമ്മളെ കാണിച്ചു തന്നു. അപ്പൊ ചൈനയെ വളരെയധികം ഡിപ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യേണ്ട അവസ്ഥയല്ല എന്ന് മനസ്സിലായി. പിന്നെ നമ്മൾക്ക് വളരെയധികം അബൻഡൻസ് ആയിട്ട് റിസോഴ്സസ് ഉണ്ട് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. അത് എന്തുകൊണ്ട് നമുക്കത് നമ്മുടെ ടെക്നിക്കൽ അതുപോലെ മാൻ പവർ ഉപയോഗിച്ച് നമുക്കത് എടുക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല. അപ്പൊ നമ്മുടെ പല എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ആൾക്കാരെയും പുറത്തേക്കുള്ള ആൾക്കാർ നമ്മുടെ ഹയർ ചെയ്തിട്ട് അവര് അവിടെ കൺസർവേഷൻ നടത്തുകയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ പുറത്തുള്ള പല ആൾക്കാരെയും കാണുമ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ ഇന്ത്യൻ ഒറിജിൻസ് തന്നെയാണ് അവിടെ ഹെഡായിട്ട് നിൽക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ എന്തുകൊണ്ട് ആ റിസോഴ്സസ് എല്ലാം നമുക്ക് ഇവിടെ യൂട്ടിലൈസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല? ഇപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞത് 100-ല് 20-ല് 100, അതായത് 1/20 നമുക്ക് റിസോഴ്സസ് ഇവിടെ അവൈലബിൾ ആണ്. എന്തുകൊണ്ട് ഈ 2 റിസോഴ്സസ് മാത്രം ഇവിടെ നമുക്ക് പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നുള്ളൂ, ബാക്കിയെല്ലാം എന്തുകൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല? അതൊരു ചോദ്യമല്ലേ?
Okay. So let me answer this question very simply. I said that geologists have said so many lakh square kilometers area താഴെ minerals ഉണ്ട്. അതിന്റെ 10% we are doing mining now. So government strategy is to mine more places and get more minerals from the earth. Mines are property of state government, and the state obviously will have to partner in this to ensure mining is taking place. So I'll give an example. Kerala, thorium is available in large quantity in the beach. So will you permit mining in the beach in Kerala?
Not possible.
You can't build Adani port. So there are many issues with this. Land acquisition is a problem in India. I told you we are heavily populated. So it's not like Australia where it is sparsely populated. So we would have difficulties in expanding our area of mining. It's a problem. But we'll have to see how we tide over the issues. So finally we'll say, okay, we'll buy the windmills. We will not manufacture windmills in India. We'll make solar panels of one category only, and balance we'll import. So we'll pay through your nose for all this. So economy will suffer because we want to go for renewable energy. So it's a very complicated situation between technology, natural resource, and going to cleaner energy, etc. And I'm sure there are many experts who are seized of the issue. Some solution will come. I'm very happy at least 10 different people have suddenly become aware of the issues of minerals and how they are critical to this country. And Sabu, thank you once again for giving this opportunity. And I will come back to you with another uncommon topic sometime later.
പല ഇതിലും പ്രൈവറ്റ് പാർട്ടിസിപ്പേഷൻ കൊടുക്കണ്ടല്ലോ. പ്രൈവറ്റ് പാർട്ടിസിപ്പേഷൻ കൂടുതൽ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുവാണെങ്കിൽ, അവർക്ക് കൂടുതൽ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഇത് ഒരു പരിധിവരെ ഇത് നമുക്ക് തരണം ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ലേ?
പറ്റും. That has to be done. That is one of the aims of, if you see Niti Aayog's strategy, increase private participation, which is at 56% now. So idea is to take it up to 70-odd% in the next 5-6 years, so that we are able to generate the required minerals from our own ores, or import ores and process in India and refine it in India. One of these things will have to be done. It's a very capital intensive program. And I'm sure, so at least you are interested in minerals now. Keep looking out for more published literature on this. Newspapers may carry it, or TV discussion may take place. But I'm happy that I've brought in this into awareness domain of today's audience.
Sure,
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Thank
Any
you.
more questions?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's enough, sir.
Can I
Thank
leave?
you.
Can I leave?
Sure, sure, sir. Sure.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Hari,
We are
thank
wait-
you.
We are
Hari,
waiting
thank
for one more session like this, sir.
Yeah, I will. Let me find a topic, then I'll come to
Sure.
you.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, sir.
യെസ് ഗുഡ് നൈറ്റ്. നാളെ നമുക്ക് ഹോളിസ്റ്റിക് ഹെൽത്ത് ആണ് ബിദുൻ. വളരെ രസകരമായിട്ടുള്ള ടോപ്പിക്കുകളാണ് ബിദുൻ നമുക്ക് വേണ്ടി തരുന്നത്. പിൽസ് മാജിക് പിൽസ് ഇല്ലാതെ ഹോളിസ്റ്റിക് ആയിട്ട് എങ്ങനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ നമ്മുടെ ഹെൽത്തിനെ റിസോഴ്സ്ഫുൾ ആയിട്ട് കീപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നതെന്ന് നാളെ നമുക്ക് പഠിക്കാം. ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു വെരി മച്ച് ഹരിഹരൻ സാർ. വൺസ് അഗൈൻ താങ്ക് യു.
Good night.
എല്ലാവർക്കും നന്ദി. താങ്ക് യു. ഗുഡ് നൈറ്റ്. സീ യു.